Would you believe that one of the greatest composers in history couldn't even hear his own music? He was deaf, yet made the world listen. Beethoven, for him, music wasn't something to hear. It was something to feel. Even when he lost his hearing, the music inside him never went silent. So how is this possible? Let's dive into 10 fascinating facts about this legendary genius. Fact 1. Beethoven, a child born with music in his soul. Ludwig van Beethoven was born in 1770 in Bonn, Germany. No one could have imagined that this boy would one day revolutionize the history of music. His journey began at home. His father, determined to turn him into the next Mozart, pushed him hard from a young age. It was a childhood full of both love and pressure. But somewhere in that storm, a star was born. Beethoven wasn't just another musician. He was a rebel, a visionary, and a revolutionary. From the earliest notes he ever played, there was a deep fire in his soul, a passion so intense that it still echoes centuries later. Without those early sparks, maybe the world would have never known the power of his legendary symphonies. Fact 2. Beethoven, genius born from silence. One of Beethoven's greatest trials was the gradual loss of his hearing. For a composer, nothing could be more devastating. The condition began when he was still quite young. His ears became increasingly sensitive to noise. And by the age of 26, his hearing had significantly deteriorated. Eventually, he became completely deaf. This was not just a physical burden, it was a deep psychological trauma. At one point, he even contemplated suicide. But instead of surrendering, Beethoven found strength in silence. He developed a profound inner world where he could hear music within his mind. He began composing not with his ears, but with his soul. From this quiet void, he created some of the most powerful and emotional symphonies in history. His music became richer, more intense, and eternally human, because it was born not only of sound, but of resilience and spiritual depth. Beethoven proved that even the harshest limitations cannot silence a truly creative spirit. His life became a symbol of triumph through suffering, and his legacy reminds us that silence itself can sing. Fact 3. Beethoven, the miraculous symphony that shook the music world at a young age. Beethoven symbolizes the transition from the classical to the Romantic era in music. When he was 29 years old in 1800, he completed and premiered his first symphony, a work that marked the beginning of a new chapter in classical music. At that time, the symphony was a well-established genre with strict traditions, but Beethoven breathed fresh life into it. His symphony was energetic, powerful, and richly detailed. In every movement, he pushed the limits of musical instruments, guiding listeners through deep emotional landscapes. With this symphony, Beethoven did not simply follow classical rules. He challenged tradition and introduced his own bold, unique creative style. This composition also revealed how courageous and determined he was as a young genius. It stands as a brilliant testament to his confidence and creative strength, and it left a lasting mark on the history of music. Fact 4. Beethoven, the pinnacle of music history. The Ninth Symphony. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony was a revolutionary moment in the world of music. Completed in 1824, it stands as one of the brightest masterpieces of classical symphony. For the first time ever, a vocal choir was included in the final movement, the famous Ode to Joy, expressing humanity's deep yearning for brotherhood and freedom through music. Though completely deaf, Beethoven composed this magnificent work using the power of his inner hearing. Every note pulses with hope, love, and profound human spirit. The Ninth Symphony holds an irreplaceable place, not only in music history, but also in the story of humanity, standing as a true miracle of human willpower and creativity. Fact 5. Beethoven, a unique tale of love and freedom. Ludwig van Beethoven never officially married, though he loved several women deeply throughout his life. His heart was filled with passionate, often tragic love stories. From his youth, he formed intense emotional bonds, but harsh realities, social restrictions, and his complex personality kept him from true happiness. It was both a romantic and dramatic fate, a love flame that burned fiercely inside him. yet remained largely unspoken in his powerful musical notes. His love, intertwined with his longing for freedom, added deep emotion and profoundness to his compositions, making his legacy immortal. The letters he wrote to his mysterious, immortal beloved remain one of history's enduring secrets. Fact 6. Beethoven, genius recognized without competition. Beethoven never participated in music competitions because his art spoke to the soul, not to rivalry. He didn't need diplomas or contests to prove himself. His talent was so powerful that he entered the world of music quietly, but shook it with his voice. Every composition bore his signature, and every symphony echoed the depths of his inner world. Though he stayed away from competitions, he climbed to the very peak of music history and became one of the greatest composers of all time. True talent doesn't shout. It arrives silently and is remembered forever. Fact 7. Beethoven, a proud rebel who challenged empires with music. Beethoven was not just a composer of notes. He was a rebel in life itself. He didn't simply write music. He composed the voice of freedom, pride, and human dignity. In his time, musicians were expected to serve aristocrats and obey their commands. But Beethoven never bowed down. He refused to follow the orders of nobles and chose his own path. He saw music not as a commodity to be sold, but as a sacred form of expression. For him, an artist was not just a performer, but a force capable of changing the spirit of the age. Once, when a high-ranking aristocrat looked down on him, Beethoven boldly replied, "There are many princes, but there is only one Beethoven." This was more than pride. It was a declaration of revolution. He proved that talent knows no rank or title. He showed that even thrones and crowns are powerless before the strength of art and spirit. Beethoven bowed to no one, neither time, nor power, nor society's rules. His legacy is immortal not just through his music, but through his very character. Fact 8. Beethoven, playing like a one-man orchestra. When Beethoven took the stage, it wasn't just one man playing. It was as if an entire symphony orchestra came to life through him. His piano playing wasn't mere technical skill. It was a volcanic eruption of emotion, a wild voice of the soul. The moment his fingers touched the keys, silence would fall over the room. Breaths would catch and listeners would be frozen in awe. In every note, they could feel power, pain, love, and rebellion. He didn't just make the piano speak, he unleashed his very spirit through it. Sometimes the instrument trembled under his hands. Other times it roared like a storm. His music, raw and unfiltered, carried people deep into their emotions, as if speaking on their behalf. Alone on stage, Beethoven's voice was the voice of thousands. Fact 9. Beethoven, the unforgettable meeting of two young geniuses. When Beethoven was still a young teenager, he had the extraordinary chance to meet one of music's greatest legends, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. This moment was a rare convergence of two giants in the same room, even if just for a brief time. In 1787, the 16-year-old Beethoven traveled to Vienna and met Mozart. The young Ludwig sat at the piano and began to play. It is said that Mozart initially showed little interest, but upon hearing Beethoven's performance, he was astonished and reportedly told those around him, "Mark my words, this boy will make the whole world know his name one day." These words were a priceless endorsement from one genius to another. Though their paths soon diverged, that brief meeting, one glance, one performance, one sentence, left an eternal mark on music history. The memory of that encounter stayed with Beethoven for a lifetime and perhaps fueled his drive to greatness. Fact 10. Beethoven, the final chord beyond silence. Beethoven passed away in March 1827 in Vienna at the age of 56. His last years were marked by severe illness, complete deafness, and financial hardship. His death was not just the passing of a musician, it was the end of an era. Legend says that thunder rumbled at the moment of his death, and Beethoven clenched his fist toward the sky one last time, as if preparing for a final battle with life itself. His funeral became a historic event. About 20,000 people flooded the streets to pay their last respects to this great genius. The poet Franz Grillparzer delivered the eulogy, saying, "Beethoven has left as a man but through his music, he has joined eternity. Beethoven's death was not an end. It was the beginning of a sound born from eternal silence that will resonate forever in music history. His symphonies continue to shake the world, as if he never truly left. If these words touched your heart and you value Beethoven's incredible life story, please like this video and leave a passionate comment. Let's keep the legacy of unforgettable geniuses alive together and help more people hear their stories. Subscribe, because another great genius awaits you in the next video. Where voices fall silent, his music speaks. Beethoven is eternal.